Welcome back to Setting Up Your Well-Planned Weekly Planner. In this section, I'm going to talk with you about the inventory sheets that you will find at the start of your planner in the initial setup section. You will notice that there are two different types of inventory sheets. The first is your food inventory, and the second is your home goods inventory. I'm going to speak specifically to both of those, but I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that there are two different ones in that section. The first one I want to talk about are the food inventory sheets. These are sheets that are designed to help you to keep track of the food you already have in your home in the most common ways that we store the food. So we are going to look at the food we have available in our refrigerator, our freezer, and our pantry. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Now, I want you to note that I've already gone through for this video and written in some examples of things that you can include in these sections, but your version will be blank for you to be able to go in and complete in the way that best suits your family. The design of this tool is that you are going to be able to keep track of the items within these spaces each month to know when you need to purchase new versions of them or when you can simply know that you have enough on hand to make the meals necessary for that week. Now, in order to use these tools, you're going to start by writing in here, this first column, the items that you want to track in that space. Now, our refrigerator often holds things that aren't actually utilized for longer than a couple of days. I'm thinking of like leftovers and quickly consumed things like milk, butter, that sort of stuff. I don't recommend including those here because oftentimes those are consumed so quickly that we're able to just know ahead of time that we do or don't have them on hand. Instead, I recommend using the refrigerator section specifically for items like condiments, peanut butter and jelly, or any sort of item that your family does use but doesn't necessarily go through very quickly and that you want to be able to keep some tabs on month to month so you can know whether or not you need to pick up more when you go to the store. Once you have all of those items listed, you can use this sheet in one of two ways. The first is you can actually go through and keep a numbered record of what you have on hand. If you are somebody who likes to keep multiple versions of an item in your refrigerator, you can put the actual number of how many of those items you have here. Or you can simply check that you actually do have it available for that month. That is how I personally like to use this sheet. At the start of the month, I go through and I look and see how we're doing with each of the items I have listed. There are some items in our home that go very quickly. With 3 children, I'm talking about things like ketchup. Oftentimes, if I know that if I have only 1 bottle of ketchup, that means that I'm going to need to buy ketchup in that month because there's no way a single bottle of ketchup is going to suffice with my 3 children throughout the month. So I will simply I'll either highlight or make a little circle in this square telling me that when the next time I go to the store, I need to make sure that I pick up another bottle or 2 of ketchup. For some of the other items like mustard or mayo or things like that, those tend to last us a lot longer. So if I have an adequate amount, I'll simply put a check mark there. And that tells me that I do not need to worry about purchasing or picking up any of that when I go to the store throughout the month. Now, as you'll notice, these up here is, again, the months of the year. So you will just tend to this each month. I recommend, again, starting at the beginning of the month, but you can really do it at any time throughout the month. So the design of these tools is that you'll be able to list out your items here and then track them each month of the year. You'll also be able to do this for your frozen foods here on this next page. Now, when it comes to the frozen foods, that works a little differently than the refrigerated foods because there are often going to be items in there that we will have for several months at a time, and we don't necessarily need to be replacing them every single month. So for my personal preference, I actually do like to use numbers here, but again, you can utilize it in whichever way works best for you. So what you'll do is you will list out the items that you have in your freezer and then make a note of them here. I personally like to use numbers here because it'll tell me specifically how many or how much of that item I have, which is very good information when it comes to creating a meal plan. I like to also go through and break it up by the type of item here. So I will usually start with all of my frozen veggies and fruits or frozen produce, and then I'll proceed to any of the frozen meats that I have, and then I'll also include any frozen meals that I have because I do like to prep ahead, and so I may have lasagna or soups or pastas, And I'll have that stuff listed down here at the bottom with the number of those items available. And the way I like to use this is I look first at the start of the month and I write down the number of those items I have available, and then I will continue to use this sheet throughout the month to be able to plan my meals. And then at the start of the next month, I'll simply come back again and make an update this here. Now, if I choose to replenish some of the items that I have throughout the month, I will simply adjust the number there so that way I have the correct information when it comes time to actually plan my meals. So, for example, if I started January with just one package of chicken breasts, which when we package them in our family, that's generally enough for one meal. If I have one package of chicken breasts remaining at the start, then I will make sure that I go out and I replenish that and I buy a couple more. And so say I now have 3, I will simply adjust that to reflect 3. Because of this, I like to use a pencil in this space to make sure that I can adjust quantities as needed throughout the month. The next section that we store our food most commonly is our pantry. And you will notice that this section is the largest. It is 2 full pages, and that is because the majority of our food is in fact stored in our pantries. And so I wanted to make sure that you have adequate space to record everything. So this section is designed exactly the same way as the refrigerator and freezer section. You're simply going to list out the items, and then again, you can decide how it is that you would like to use the monthly column space. You can again write in the exact quantities that you have of each item, or you can simply use it as a visual way to tell you yes or no, I need to purchase those items. In this section, a tip I would give you is to break up the items into specific categories, similarly to how I discussed doing so in the freezer. This will help you to be able to quickly assess how many of each item you have and more efficiently make your grocery shopping lists. An example of how you could do this would be to break it up into categories like snacks, pasta, baking goods, etc. You include all of the items that fit in that category into that section, so that way you can again quickly assess if you need to purchase more or if you have adequate amount to do your meals week. So the next inventory sheet I want to talk with you about is our home goods inventory sheets. These are going to work in the exact same way that your food inventory sheets work, but obviously they're not pertaining to items that we consume via eating. This is going to be where you track all of the other non-edible consumables in your home. This is going to be things like toiletries, cleaning supplies, paper products, and so on. I want to also make a note that this is not filled in ahead of time in your planner. I've done this just here as an example. Yours is open so that you can fill it in the way that fits your family best. So what you'll do is you will start by listing out all of those items here in the first column. For home goods, my tip is to, again, break it up by categories, because this is going to, again, make it easier for you to quickly assess what you need and how much you need, but it also helps you to quickly make your shopping lists, because oftentimes when you are in the grocery store, in the big box stores, these items are going to be positioned together. And so rather than you darting from one side of the store to the next to fill your grocery shopping list requirements, you'll be able to do it quickly because you've now made your list in a way that reflects the categories of those items. I personally like to highlight the top of those categories because, again, it just helps me visually be able to do things more efficiently. So an example here is your adult toiletries. You're going to list out all of you and your partner's needs, such as shampoo, toothpaste, face wash, makeup, anything that you use for your own personal body and care. You're going to list there. A few other examples of categories of items that you might want to include on your own inventory sheets could be things like medications, basic first aid supplies, office supplies, cleaning supplies, paper products, vitamins and supplements, any sort of item that you have to purchase in order to maintain your home. So it's stuff that you use throughout the month and generally needs to be replaced. Go ahead and include those here. Now, once you have all of this information, you are going to be able to use it to make your shopping trips more efficient and effective. I personally believe that we do not need to be purchasing home goods supplies more than once a month. It is the way that I've operated for several years, and I tell you, it has made our shopping experience significantly less stressful and significantly more efficient. Now, the way I like to use these sheets in my own personal life to make my shopping more efficient and effective is I use this information and I complete one home goods related shopping trip each month. And I do that because I don't want to be going to multiple stores every single time I go shopping. Generally, when I shop, I also have my kids in with me, and it just makes it way more stressful to be dragging the whole crew from store to store. So if I can keep my shopping trips quick and efficient, that is going to make all of us happier. So I only go home goods shopping at the start of every month. That way, throughout the remainder of the month, I can simply stop by the store to pick up the groceries we need. And I avoid going to those big box stores to pick up these consumable related items because I've gotten them at the start of the month. So here's how my process works. And here's how I recommend using these tools. At the start of the month, or just before the start of the month, take your planner with you throughout the home and go visit where you store all of these items. And make a little note if you need to pick up more of an item, or you can simply make a note that you have plenty. I like to do that by using check marks or circles. So if I were to go and look at the adult toiletries and see that, you know what, we actually do need toothpaste, we don't quite have enough to get us through the whole month, I would make a little circle in this first column. But say that I looked at our shampoo and body wash and I think we are good to go, we have plenty for the whole month, I simply make a little check mark, and that tells me quickly that I have enough and I don't have to worry about picking any up for that month. I will do that for every single category in our home goods, and then I will use that information as my shopping list when I go grocery shopping or when I go to the store to pick up our home goods. Because I have taken the time to categorize these items by their group, I can do my shopping very quickly. All of the adult toiletries are generally in the same place. Same with the children's toiletries, cleaning supplies, paper products, etc. I won't be bouncing from side to side of the store to get everything I need. And I don't have to transfer this information to an additional shopping list. It's all right here. I can quickly just run down, and anywhere I see a circle, I know that is an item I need to pick up. And I will pick that up, toss it in my cart, and now my shopping is getting done quickly and efficiently. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, well, that sounds great and all, but I don't know how much my family needs of each item to get me through an entire month. And that's okay. That is something you will learn as you go along in this process, and it will quickly become a routine that you know. So don't hold yourself to a perfect expectation in that first few months. Simply make a guess. If you think that your family could get through with a single tube of toothpaste, only buy one and see where you are. If you find that halfway through the month, hey, you know what, we actually blew through that entire tube of toothpaste, now you know in the next month you need to purchase two. Or if you are somebody who likes to have a backstock, you can tell yourself, hey, you know what, I want to always have 2 extra tubes of toothpaste on hand. And so you can make sure that as you are looking through your inventory each month before you make your list, if you notice that your inventory has dropped down to 1, okay, you only have 1 in your backstock. That means you need to pick up 1 when you head to the store. This, again, is designed to help you to keep the amount of items you have kind of at the forefront of your mind. So that way, when you are grocery shopping, you're not guessing, you're not out there trying to remember, oh, did we have enough shampoo? I can't remember. This will tell you specifically whether or not you did. It also helps to prevent you from overspending and going out and buying more only to come home and find out, hey, you know what? We had 8 tubes of toothpaste. I didn't need to buy any more. And it also helps you, most of all, to not have to run to stores several times a week or to shop at multiple stores every week when you do your grocery shopping. And that is the goal of this, is to really streamline all of your processes to help you to regain that time back in your life.